Using Screencast-O-Matic, we're going to use 3 simple steps in order to change word problems into algebraic expressions or equations. Here's how we start. First, we're going to circle the variable. Okay, that means identifying the unknown and giving it a word or a letter instead. Then we're going to box important numbers. Those important numbers can be anything. Finally, we're going to underline operation words. This could include an equals. We're going to read this as 5 times the number less 15. We need to identify the variable. So, as I read it, 5 times a number less 15. What represents something that is unknown? It's the number. So, a number is going to be circled. I can see a number right here. And this is where I'm going to circle it. Okay, so now I have the number circled. I'm going to give it a letter, and N sounds like a good number for a number. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify important numbers. That includes 5 and 15. Okay, so since 5 is a number, I'm going to put a box around it, and then I'm going to write the number 5 underneath. You could write it above depending on how much space you have. The next important number is 15. So I'm going to box the number 15. And again, I'm going to write it underneath because that's where I have more space. All right, that's a little messed up. Let me go ahead and erase a little bit. All right, now we're ready to underline the words that are operations. We went through a whole list of operation words just prior to this. So we're going to use our chart and identify the important words. Times is one, and that means to multiply. Now, when doing this, you want to use a dot instead of the X that we're used to. And the reason why is because X can be confused with the variable. So we're going to use the dot. Next, we've got less. Less means to subtract, so I'm going to put my minus sign there. Now that we're done with all of the boxing, the circling, the underlining, we need to write the expression. This includes 5 times a number minus 15. So I just write what's written for me. 5 times n minus 15. All right, so now we're going to use the equal sign. All right, let's go to the first example. There's 3 of them here. The first one is Nan rode the roller coaster 8 times, which was twice as many times as she rode the Ferris wheel. So what we need to do is identify what are the unknown pieces of information. Okay, circle the variables. The first part is Nan rode the roller coaster 8 times. So roller coaster must be something that's important. So we're going to circle roller coaster and we're going to give it a letter. All right, the other one is the Ferris wheel. And the reason why we have the Ferris wheel is because it says twice as many times as she rode the Ferris wheel. All right, so we need 2 different variables. Let's use R for roller coaster. So we put an R above. This time I put it above because there's no room below. And then W would represent Ferris wheel because it's wheel. Now we're going to box important numbers. All right, what are the important numbers? The first one I identify is 8. It's a number. It's written for me. It has to be important. So I'm going to write it again above just because that's where I have my room. Now the other one is twice. So as I look here, I can see twice right here, but twice we have in our list of words. So we're going to hold off on it for right now. Okay, next thing we're going to need to do is look for more numbers, which I don't see. So we're going to underline operation words, including equals this time. All right, we got to find an equal sign. Let's start with what we know, times. Times is easy. We know it means to multiply. So again, I put my dot up there. And I see times a second time. So I'm going to put another dot above that. But I'm going to wait because twice we said was another important word. And that meant 2 times. So that's probably why those two are sitting next to each other. Okay, I have not found the equal sign yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this. Nan rode the. Those words aren't used, but none of them mean equals. Now I've got which was. Oh, look, it was. It's the past tense form of is, and is means equals. So we put that right there above. Everything else is already done for me. So I'm going to go ahead and write the equation. And I notice that 8 and R are sitting next to each other, but there's nothing in between them. I think that times is supposed to be in between. A letter and a number sitting next to each other means times, so I write 8R. Then I'm going to continue down the row. Remember, it writes itself for us. I have an equals. I've got a 2 times, and then if I look all the way down here, I can see there's a W. So I've got 2 times W. Now, does it matter that we have this dot? No. We can either put them side by side like we did the 8 and R, or we can put a dot in between like we did with the 2 and W. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. So what you're going to do is look at the other two and do the same thing I just did.